And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. It is Friday, June 26, 2020. Welcome to the NPCs weekly news live stream covering, of course, everything news-wise, at least that we could in gaming, and trying not to take up a lot of your time. Kyle, good evening. Kyle's, of course, with us on Discord.
What's up?
Yeah, so we actually have quite a bit to talk about here, not only with the Cyberpunk 2077 stuff that came out. We've also got PlayStation 4 bug bounty program. We got some news from Oculus as well, too, but we've also got some breaking news to start off with that came out just this evening. So I'm going to go ahead and roll that intro, and we'll get right into it. All right, let's go ahead and jump in here to our first story. And this is actually breaking news for all of us right now here, too. Figured this is a kind of a big one to cover, of course, with who it is, but Twitch bans DrDisrespect. So this news only came out just a couple hours ago. We'll still consider it breaking news anyway because it's a pretty big deal with who it involves. Story goes on to say, today out of the blue, Twitch suspended massively popular streamer guy DrDisrespect Beam, a ban that multiple sources tell Kotaku is permanent. Initially, people suspected that he tripped a wire in Twitch's increasingly aggressive DMCA detection system, but that does not appear to be the case. Industry insider and journalist Rod Slasher Breslau said on Twitter that, according to his sources, the ban is permanent. Streamer Shannon Z Killer Plante said she had heard the same from her own sources, adding that the issue is serious. Three sources close to Twitch have told Kotaku that the ban is permanent as well. When reached out for more information on why DrDisrespect has been suspended and for how long, a Twitch representative told Kotaku in an email, as is our process, we take appropriate action when we have evidence that a streamer has acted in violation of our community guidelines or terms of service. These apply to all streamers regardless of status or prominence in the community. So DrDisrespect is not without his controversy. DrDisrespect, of course, is not without the things he definitely brings to the table that definitely add a wild spin to the the grand scheme, I guess, of being a streamer. This is an interesting one, really, why it came out of the blue, and there are a couple things going on that it might be. Of course, we're very low key, so of course we don't have information. Everything that we have goes, of course, off of Twitter and whatever everybody else is saying. So as a lot of people know, of course, DrDisrespect actually ended up getting a temp ban last June because of an incident at E3 2019 where he was kind of doing an IRL type live stream as he was walking around on the floor, and he ended up walking into a men's bathroom there at E3 with the camera running, which is not only a violation of law for the state of California, but also a violation of Twitch's policies as well, though, too. So in the grand scheme, of course, broke the law there and then broke the rules on the streaming platform. So he was temp banned for, I think it was about 2 weeks. And then the interesting thing, too, Kyle, I know you might have seen something about this, but he's also signed a exclusive agreement with Twitch to be streaming like just on their platform, nowhere else, to stream with them for like millions of dollars. Very similar to the multi-million-dollar contracts that Ninja and Shroud had with Mixer, which we'll get into a different story here later. But this is an interesting one because normally there's some type of information that usually precedes before we'll see a ban. Like usually there will actually be something out there that says why somebody got banned, or at least like sets it up to say it's like, okay, well, I can see why they did. Nothing has been shared out there yet. Kyle, have you...
Assuming it would be because he makes his career off of, pushing the limit,
He does.
I'm assuming, he must have struck the wrong chord. He must have overstepped his contract because that was my first question is, does he have a contract with Twitch? Now also, does this ban void his contract? So
that's a good question.
Yeah, maybe it was him trying to, especially after the faux pas he made, and really and truly it was on him, and that was extremely illegal. I don't know if he after that ban, uh, if he was trying to maybe get out of contract so he can seek other outlets, with either Facebook or with YouTube streaming. That's my other thought.
Well, see, I don't know. So a couple of years ago, he went on to stream to say that he like he wasn't in character. He was actually his normal plain clothes everyday self. He went on to stream to say that he was going to be taking a break from Twitch due to some infidelity with his wife, and he took a break for a while and then came back. I think after a month and a half. Actually, no, it was a little longer than I think it was a couple months. And supposedly it was all set up as a ruse for him to. He actually ended up going and working on Call of Duty. What game was it? It wasn't Black Ops 4, whatever it was that preceded Black Ops 4. He went back to that developer to go do some level design, which is what he had done previously as an actual regular real world job before the streaming stuff. So he went back to go do that, and that's supposedly what it was, is that it was set up to kind of do such. However, some of the things that are being talked about, though, is that it could possibly relate back to the infidelity or something else is going on. Because right now, of course, what's happening is there's a big movement going on, of course, through Twitch. I know, of course, it's kind of weird and bad to say, I think, or even wrong to say, a revitalization of the Me Too movement, but that's what's going on through streaming right now. And so Twitch has been hitting the ban hammer on a lot of people for that. A lot of companies have been breaking ties with streamers, though, too, that they had sponsorships with. So it's possible, because this is going on right now, it could be a part of it. But again, there's nothing out there that at least shows yet that this is the case. And if Twitch didn't know what they were getting into with DrDisrespect in the first place, especially after the temp ban last summer with E3, why would they sign a contract with him in March of this year? Like almost a year later. Like, why would they do that? They knew it. But you mentioned it earlier, though, too, Kyle, that he does, he has that persona. He does, he does kind of use his talents in that, to kind of push the edge on things. He reminds me more of like watching a WWE wrestler than anything, like the way his performance is, the way his presence is, the way he actually produces his content. It seems more like you're watching WWE. So
Yeah, and see, other than briefly seeing the video last year when we covered it, I don't recall ever actually watching any Dr. Disrespect. So I wouldn't know. I know that his persona is supposed to be very forward and,
mm-hmm.
but yeah,
Well, see, the big thing too. So I'll admit, so I'm on the inverse of that with you. I subscribe to him, or I guess at least did. Like I would subscribe to him regularly every month. He was actually one of my favorite streamers to watch, and I was curious as to, I bring streams up when I'm working just to have some noise on in the background, and I was surprised that it hit his normal stream time by about 11:30 our time, and he wasn't on. Nothing came up. I went to check his Twitter to see if he had said anything, like got to take a day off because of this or something, but
something off, and he didn't.
Exactly nothing. He was completely silent. Nothing was said. I was like, okay. And he's done this before, so I was just like, whatever. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So once we have more information, of course, we'll roll along with it as we get things here. But we got quite a few things to go.
That's pretty crazy.
It is,
especially for a major contract streamer to get a ban like that.
Agreed. Yeah, that's definitely a big thing. And now, of course, especially we move on into the next part of the world of streaming. And this was actually, I think, the biggest news this week, alongside the whole Twitch ban stuff for a bunch of the streamers and the misconduct, is Microsoft is shutting down Mixer and partnering with Facebook Gaming. So this dropped out of the blue on the 22nd. Let's kind of talk about here what's going on. Microsoft is closing the Mixer service on July 22nd and plans to move existing partners over to Facebook Gaming. The surprise announcement means Mixer partners and streamers will be transitioned to Facebook Gaming starting the 22nd, and Microsoft will no longer operate Mixer as a service in a month's time. Microsoft has struggled to reach the scale needed for Mixer to compete with Twitch, YouTube, and even Facebook Gaming, which has led to today's decision. We started pretty far behind in terms of where Mixer's monthly active users were compared to some of the big players out there, says Phil Spencer, Microsoft's head of gaming, in an interview with The Verge. I think the Mixer community is really going to benefit from the broad audience that Facebook has through their properties and the abilities to reach gamers in a very seamless way through the social platform Facebook has. So this I actually saw happen kind of in real time. I got an alert on my phone when this happened, Kyle. And so I was like, really? They're going to change over? So I went over to Mixer. And actually, I'm gonna change back to the face camera here. I'll bring this up really quick. Just do me a favor, Kyle, and just navigate over to Mixer's website really quick and take a look at this. They might actually have some of it there. Yeah, I'll bring this up here really quick. But yeah, if you just go to Mixer and hit browse, a lot of channels are on here right now that are just basically streaming nothing more than a banner that says...
their Twitch handle.
Yes, follow me on Twitch, or I'm live now on Twitch.
Seeing it all over.
Yeah,
some of them are just the basic, like they went into their streamer their streaming software, and they just threw up text. Some of them have fairly official looking ones that they've obviously worked on, before, or maybe put some time into to throw up as a splash screen. But yeah, there's a lot of them, almost all of them, that are going to like Twitch. There's a few of them that say Facebook, but
yeah, and that's
of them say Twitch.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of them are. So the news, of course, that went along with this is really that first and foremost, it was a surprise. It was out of left field. There was no warning to the base level, like Mixer partners, the ones, of course, who have the check mark and can get subscribers and earn money through a recurring subscription from people who are watching them. There was no mention, of course, of any of it, of course, to the lower level ones who were just doing it, not earning any money, or at least earning a little bit of money. But what it looks like, though, that was different on this is that Shroud and Ninja were both made aware potentially in advance of this being shut down, because the rumor mill was going around. I don't watch Ninja, so I didn't really, I can't confirm this, but what was going around is that the banners on Ninja's former Twitch page were all updated, like all brand new.
Oh wow!
Like either he went in, or his marketing team went in, or something, like his management team went in and took care of it. Like they actually set something up on there, and yeah, sure enough. So I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think it's crazy. They could have done what other places have done, like YouTube, and they gone in and paid some small streamers a little bit of money. But instead they go in and they pay these fairly big streamers some buku bucks to be exclusive to their platform, and now all of a sudden they're just back on the platform they were on before, and they get all this money. That's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Because Shroud made supposedly, like, nothing has actually come out of this. Shroud made $10 million on that contract, and Ninja made $30 million, and supposedly they walked away with all of it. Like all of it. They didn't get just cut off and said, you were here with us with this much, at this much time, this is the amount you get on your contract. Here's your money. So not only is the thing shutting down, but they're walking away with a cool, $40 million between the two of them. So, I mean, if they didn't want to stream again, they didn't have to. So So that's a big thing. So a lot of people have already transitioned over. There's already been people let go at Microsoft in the gaming division, of course, the Mixer part of that department. You've had a lot of heartfelt goodbyes in that on Twitter, from people who were working there or have been transitioned to another team at Microsoft as well too. And again, like what we just looked at on Mixer, was a lot of those streams that say, hey, go to Twitch. And that day, Kyle, that was one thing I was going to mention, is that day when it was announced and everybody was caught by surprise, when I tuned over to Mixer to look at the channels, almost every single channel was on there, and you could see them all setting up a Twitch profile.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they were all logged in, setting up their banners, getting things put in place, all of that. it was pretty crazy to see this huge migration over. And there were a lot of streamers that reached out from the other platforms, from YouTube Gaming, from Twitch, from Facebook Gaming even as well, that said, this is definitely a big surprise because nobody saw it coming. Talk to me and I can help you kind of get things set up and get you ready to come over to here. And they're not people who were affiliated with Twitch in a way that, they actually worked for Twitch or anything. They were just regular streamers on the platform who were just like, let me help you out. Let me help you understand this platform to get you set up and working. So there was definitely a good outreach from the streaming community to help bring them over. So yeah, so that was definitely really the big one before the last story there. So let's move into another one here. And Kyle, I'm going to let you read through this one from The Verge, talking about Oculus discontinues its low-end Go headset to focus on Oculus Quest.
Yeah, so Oculus is ending sales of its budget Oculus Go virtual reality headset and opening its Quest headset to a wider range of software. The company will maintain Oculus Go firmware through 2022 and accept new apps through December 2020, but it will stop selling Go hardware after the current stock runs out. Meanwhile, it will add a new Quest app distribution channel without the current strict approval process, encouraging more developers to work with the headset. In a blog post, Facebook owner Oculus says it's retiring the Go after a positive response to the Quest, which features the same all-in-one format but tracks full spatial or 6DOF motion, not just head orientation. You've told us loud and clear that 6DOF feels like a full or like the future of VR, excuse me. That's why we're going all in, and we won't be shipping out any more 3DOF VR products, the post says. Oculus already lists the 149 Go as out of stock before its cancellation, and it dropped the Go from business VR platform in January, saying the Quest was the best solution, quote unquote, for the most users.
Wow.
So Oculus Quest launched, Oculus launched the Quest with highly curated app selection aimed at giving new VR users a consistent experience. Now with Go developers getting nudged towards the Quest, it's apparent developing an alternative option for early 2021. The system will let developers share their apps with anyone with a Quest, as long as they meet Oculus content standards. They won't get the visibility of the Oculus Store page, but users won't have to manually sideload the apps of the headsets, making it easier to deploy software that's in testing for builds for limited audience. So I don't know. It seems like a step in the right direction for Oculus.
What this felt like is this was made to fill the niche that VR needed to, because the Gear VR headsets that came out from Samsung to slap your Galaxy S7, S8, whatever else there was into them, was kind of the starting point, because those were made in partnership with Oculus. This was just kind of the standalone that says, okay, you don't need to slap your phone in. We'll give you some VR. It'll cost you a little bit more, but we'll give you something at least there, but it's not going to be everything that you see from the other headsets out there. And this is a good business decision, I think, for them.
And it's ironic because I think this is also maybe them trying to bank off of one of the most popular things that the 6 DOF VR is for, or at least for a basic, even freeware, is that VR chat. Like, that sells headsets alone, which is ridiculous, but apparently people love it.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, it's just because it's just funny. You can run around that game and just be as ridiculous as possible. But
well, and it's not even that. Like, people actually use it to, instead of like a video experience, like a video chat experience with someone. Some people actually just get on there to chat with people in real life. I don't know. There's a widespread audience. It's kind of weird.
No, I agree on that one. I guess it's good though, that this is going away, because a game like that, like VR chat, would not be available on the Go. And this is also going to open up a lot of the newer VR software.
for the newer headsets that they're coming out with too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the Go had so many finite VR games you could play, and then that was it.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. There's only so much you could do with it. I expect like we should have a second generation of Quest coming out here soon. Like we should,
yeah,
because the Quest dropped what mid last year,
yeah,
and
I
then
think so.
the Oculus Link dropped. I think around Christmas this last year, if not maybe. No, it was about a month or so before, where you could actually hook USB Type C into your to the Quest and then plug it into your computer and run more VR games off of your computer without having overtax the gear inside the Quest. So yeah, they've definitely hit a good point with that headset. So yeah, the
Yeah, it
Go
sounds
just
like
needed to
they're
go.
trying to go for a early 2021 release with a new VR system.
Cool.
So
Well then,
yeah,
all right. Well, let's move in here
and
to our.
then yeah, other users will get firmware patches continuously through 2022. So that's also really cool that they will be supporting their old headsets for at least a little while longer.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of security and such, that's something you can't look the other way at. That's good. So good on you,
Very true.
Oculus, even though you're a Facebook company, but we won't get into that now. All right, so let's go ahead and hop into our next story here. Kyle, you added this one to the list too. This one's from Polygon. The Wii and Wii U are still getting games in 2020. What?
Yeah, so this was kind of an odd one I found. Nintendo's Wii and Wii U platforms will get a new game this summer, Shakedown Hawaii, developer V Blank Entertainment's 2019 sequel to Retro City Rampage. Both versions will be released this summer, but as you can probably expect, when a modern game is ported to a nearly 14-year-old console, there's a catch. Shakedown Hawaii will be released on Wii on July 9th with a limited run of 3,000 physical copies. The Wii port will also be limited to PAL format territories. Nintendo of Europe is apparently still manufacturing Wii discs, but in North America, Wii owners are out of luck because the Wii games aren't region free. Uh, that said, Wii collectors will probably still want a copy. The Wii's digital store, the Wii Shop channel, closed down in 2019.
Jesus Christ. I can't,
So
like,
V
what the
Blake
hell?
says that as a consolation to North American players, it will also release a Wii U version of Shakedown Hawaii in August. Here are some important technical details on the Wii U and Wii U ports of from the developer's website, and it does kind of list some stuff about the discs and how the controllers will function, but it says that the game will cost $29.99. This game was actually released on PS4, Vita, PC on the in May of 2019, and a 3DS port arriving in September of 2019. So people have had plenty of chance to play it. I actually did play it. It's a great game. I think it's a little bizarre to release it on these consoles, but
Like,
cool.
I don't get it. Like, I really don't. Okay, well, I mean, I don't know what to say. It's a Wii and Wii U game coming out in 2020 when we're on the cusp of the next console generation for Xbox for Xbox and PlayStation, and the Switch has been out now for 3 years. Like, I don't know what else can happen. I mean, whatever. I mean, you got people still making Super Nintendo cartridges, so
That's very true. And you think about it
jeez.
in places like I believe it's Brazil, they still sell the Sega Genesis brand new, the original version.
Really?
Yeah, because the price of consoles is so extreme that it's cheaper to buy a Sega Genesis that's still like $150
Okay.
because it's hard.
Okay.
I don't know if it's Brazil. You don't quote me on the country, but yeah, it is a South America country. I want to say.
Okay. That's perfectly fine. So yay for more Wii U games, I guess. Let's move in. Let's move into a little bit more of the future here, Kyle, and you can tell us about this one then from Venture Beat about Min Min from ARMS joining Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Yeah, so we knew that a kid from ARMS would be coming to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now we know that it's Min Min, ramen-loving spring boxer. She'll be available June 29th. This is the first character that's part of a second fighter pass. Buying the pass grants access to 6 characters released throughout the year of 2020. It gives Nintendo a way to monetize the popular Switch fighting game after its 2018 release. Ultimate has sold over 18.84 million copies. That's a lot of potential for Fighter Pass buyers. Let's see if my computer quit freaking out over the video. ARMS was an early Switch game released in June 2017. Like Smash Brothers, it's a fighting game, although ARMS focuses on third-person battle based on long-distance punching. Smash Brothers Ultimate director Masashiro Sakurai showed off the new character today in a video recorded from his home. He showed off Min Min and a new ARMS stage along with her moveset. The DLC will also add 18 tracks from ARMS soundtrack to Ultimate. Like in her original game, she can attack with each of her extendable arms. Sakurai noted that this gives her an advantage in long-range fighting, but she struggles in closer encounters. Ultimate is also getting some new Mii Fighter outfits on June 29th, including one Ninjara from ARMS. You can also get ones based off of Hayachi, Kali, and Marie from Tekken, Splatoon, and Splatoon, respectively, and even Vault Boy from Fallout franchise. Sakurai also showed off Amiibo from Joker, Persona 5, and Hero from Dragon Quest 11, which will come out this fall. So, kind of cool stuff from Nintendo. Quick little blurb. I don't know if you had the video going because I was kind of reading the article.
I sure did. I'm actually, I'm looking at it now,
Awesome.
and I gotta say, whoever ends up trying to play her in that, like, she definitely is going to require some type of really good handle on everything, because the amount of time it takes for those arms to retract, you're not going to want to throw out too quick of punches. You're going to want to hit, get closer, and then hit again. It's just that
a miss would be devastating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's funny. Just like,
but it's not a Fire Emblem character.
It's not a sword wielder. Nope, none of the sword crap there now. So yay for at least now. Cool. So
I haven't had a chance to play ARMS. Did you pick that one up for your Switch at all?
No, we didn't pick it up. It didn't look immediately appealing to us. We were going to get Splatoon 2, but hasn't a lot of Splatoon 2 really turned down and phased out now?
I don't know. It's still every now and then I get on and there's still a lot of people playing on. Here recently, I want to say it was either last month or maybe month before last. I would have to check. They restarted their Splatfests from the beginning. So they did the very first one, which was ketchup and mayo, and they're going to go through them throughout the year again. So kind of cool. And I think that part of the reason that they did that was because of the pandemic, But there's still a big audience that plays it, and even out of that audience, there's a lot of people that didn't get to participate in Splatfests before. And they are kind of fun to go and participate in. So
nice. Okay, we'll have to still circle around to see about picking that up then for the kids. But how about we talk about some other Nintendo games there, Kyle?
Yeah,
let's jump into this one here too. From the 25th, this was from The Verge. Animal Crossing New Horizons is adding swimming. What are they doing, Kyle?
Super fun. Yeah, so the oceans of Animal Crossing New Horizons are opening up. Today, Nintendo revealed a summer update for the Switch game which will be launching on July 3rd and adds a very important feature: swimming.
Nice.
Now players will be able to jump into the waters that surround their island and even search for new sea life that that can then be donated to the museum. The update will also introduce new crafting options, add mermaid-themed furniture to collect, and it makes some changes to
Shit.
Gulliver, a bird frequently washes ashore and will now be decked out as a pirate. This is arguably the biggest change to the game since an April update that added new gardening features and a mysterious art cellar. It also looks like there's more to come as well. Another summer update is planned to be released in early August, so stay tuned for further details to come, Nintendo says. So, yay! More Animal Crossing content.
Oh, crap.
I want to say the diving and swimming stuff, I believe, was introduced in New Leaf, and that's also when Pascal was introduced to the series.
Okay. Well, I'm now concerned as a parent of a 3-year-old who is really into her mermaids right now. That
Oh, geez.
oh, crap. Okay. I need to load up Animal Crossing and play this and have her sit
And
with me.
you
while I
gotta
make it all.
love drunk Gulliver. That's how I always imagine him. Is he always got drunk and fell overboard? Is now dressed as Captain Morgan, basically.
That's what he looks like. Yeah, I actually I had the video going up there in the background as you were talking about it. Yeah, we're gonna have to end up downloading the update, of course, and I think my daughter is going to get a real kick out of all the mermaid furniture. So
See, and I don't know if this was part of the game before, but it was probably, and you may think I'm crazy, but it was probably about weeks ago. I was walking down the left side of my island where the dock is, and just above the dock, I noticed this only when I was at a specific angle, walking on the beach, that I noticed some weird rock formations in the water that weren't there before. I could have swore they weren't there before, but it was only at a certain angle that I could view them. And I got kind of up to them. They were darker areas in the water, and you couldn't really see that they were rock formations. And I wonder if that was them preparing for the update.
maybe to get you more curious.
There have been some major updates that we've seen. Some, they've been tagging on BC and to their version numbers, so we know that there's been getting at least small content in a single update. So obviously, maybe they're preparing for this larger update.
Yeah, maybe it made it easier to distribute small and give some teasers on different things, and then once the actual update went live, then it was a faster download. So
Yeah,
that's cool
yeah.
though. But yeah, I'm gonna have to build all that mermaid furniture for my daughter now. So
Oh, geez.
awesome.
Pretty exciting though, and especially for people that you think like Dan. He already 5-starred his village. He's basically made the perfect place. He's been working on houses still, but
Yeah, maybe now
other
he'll be
than
able
that,
to build a little
there's not a
seaside.
lot of content that he can do because to accomplish some of the stuff he did have to time travel.
Oh yeah,
But
that's true.
that being said, this makes it so they're showing, even if you did that, you haven't experienced everything, so come back to the game.
I think what he's going to end up doing, with him especially, I think what he's going to end up doing is building all the mermaid furniture as some sort of little beach getaway thing. I already picture it now. Set up some sort of how some people will set up their patios with the outdoor couches and outdoor rugs and tables and all that.
I
actually
see him
doing that.
maxing out the number of users on the island,
Or
if he
that.
hasn't already.
I think he probably already has. I'm sure he's probably already got a second copy of Animal Crossing and another Switch, and he's actually using it to work together to make just 2 big islands to travel back and forth on. So, yay. Well, that was fun in the world of Nintendo. Let's go ahead and hop into this next one here. And this one actually is curious because, I wonder if anything's going to kind of retroactively be added. This one comes to us from PC Gamer. Steam launches a permanent points shop. The new system is similar to points awarded in previous sales, but will be live year round. So, Kyle, what is Steam doing?
So one of the things you can do in this year's Steam Summer Sale is earn points that can be used to acquire digital items like animated stickers, backgrounds, and avatar. Initially, it looked similar to the systems employed in previous sales, like the night market in the most recent Lunar New Year sale, but it's actually a much bigger affair and permanent too. Rather than being limited to the summer sale, Steam's new points shop will be live year round with points awarded to a rate of 100 per dollar spent, adjusted accordingly. God, can't talk tonight.
Big word.
For exchange rates. So I only get 73 points from my dollar. That's obviously the person that was writing the article. On all purchases, including games, DLC, applications, soundtracks, and even hardware. Seasonal awards will be for grabs. A summer golden profile set is currently available, but the vast majority are game-specific items like the Doom Eternal
Arachnotron.
Arachnotron. Thank you. Sorry. Animated
Cool.
sticker or more generic stuff as chat effects and profile backgrounds. Points can also be used on community awards for things like reviews or user-generated content. If you see something you like, you can call it out as extra helpful, a hot take, being funny, or whatever. Naturally, you can also earn a couple of rewards for your awards, a Patreon badge for grabbing awards for user-generated content, and a contributor badge for doing the same with user reviews. And people on the receiving end of the awards will also be given some Steam points to go along with it, which will hopefully encourage higher quality contributions. Steam points don't expire, although any you earn through purchases will be deducted with refunds, and unlike Steam trading cards, they can't be traded or sold. Valve also noted that trading card system will not be impacted by the change. It's like emoticons and backgrounds will be accessible through the trading card system, but now can be acquired directly by points as well. The full lowdown on the new permanent Steam point system is available through their website. The Steam Summer Sale is now live and runs through July 9th. So if you haven't gone on and taken advantage of it, go ahead. I'm actually going on real quick to see about retroactive purchases.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like if we've gotten points
I think it is.
Yeah, so I was wondering like if we've gotten points from like previous,
I'm fairly certain
the seasonal
it is.
sales.
Well, not just seasonal sales, but I think some maybe previous purchases. Because I did just purchase a couple games. I think I purchased Terraria and a couple other ones, but like Stardew Valley and stuff, just to get the $5 off or whatever, just so I didn't miss out on it. And there were games that were on sale, and I'm already at 46,896 points. So
46,000.
46,000.
46,000. Fuck you. Okay, I gotta load up Steam now, and I gotta take a look at this for myself. I gotta look at this for myself too. If you've got 46,000, I mean, I know how you buy games, but I gotta look now. I gotta see what I got. I was like, there's no freaking way. All right, yes, I know. I gotta turn off the whole thing there. All right. Is it on the front page? Like when you actually go to Steam itself, is it actually there?
If you go directly onto the store, it's right on the top. It should do this like sticker thing for the summer sale if it's your first time visiting.
I've only got like 9,000 points.
Really?
Yeah, I'd like to see a breakdown of it. Oh, purchases prior to May 28th, or yeah, prior to May 28th, 2020. So they did retroactively, but I only got 9,000 points. Fuck,
Yeah.
I haven't bought enough. I mean, my library has I have 194 titles in my library, but I'm sure most of
Um,
them I probably bought pretty cheap, through all the different sales and such.
well, and you got to think too. For years, I didn't have access to my Steam account because my computer broke down and then it got hacked. So, and I only had like all the Half-Life games and I think Stalker and a couple other games on there. And now I'm up to it says 141 of 251.
Nice.
So, oh,
Okay.
okay. So 110 not listed for filter reasons. That's all the like server stuff. So it'd be 141 games that I have now.
Okay. All right.
And
I
I every time they have a sale, I hop on and I buy like probably what would be normally $200 worth of games for like $50. So
that exact like I said, the way you buy games makes sense for you to have all of those points then. So I expected probably to have more. I'm curious though for the other people we know that use, that have Steam. I'm curious to know what their points are right now. Like I know a couple people who probably even have more than you.
oh, I'm sure there's plenty of people that have more than me.
I know. I'm just thinking
Uh,
like locally, like who I like, just right off the top of my head, who I know. But okay, that's just it's never mind. It's whatever. But yay! I mean, at least they did that. At least you know that you bought all these things and have invested a lot in that they're giving stuff back to you. So
but yeah,
that's good.
I'll also buy crap games that don't mean anything, and I'll play them once and mean to return them, and I never do.
Yes, that is
So
you.
I'm really terrible about that. But I will say some of the stuff in the shop that they have now is pretty cool. Some of the like profile backgrounds that are animated are pretty sweet, and some of those stickers are actually pretty cool too.
Yeah. They actually do look pretty neat. I'll have to go through and see which ones, I really like. I do like some of the Doom Eternal ones they had there, so I might have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
I might have to get those. All right, let's move into our next one here now, and this one is a announcement actually from Sony, right from their PlayStation blog, announcing the PlayStation Bug Bounty Program in collaboration with security platform HackerOne. Kyle, what is going on with the Bug Bounty Program from Sony for the PlayStation?
So this is directly from PlayStation. This is their direct message. We'll go ahead and read it out, and we'll talk about it a little bit more in detail because I do have more information. I don't have it pulled up right now or anything, but some information about it. But
That's cool.
at PlayStation, we are committed to providing gamers all over the world with great experiences. I'm happy to announce today that we have started a public PlayStation Bug Bounty program because the security of our products is a fundamental part of creating amazing experiences for our community. We believe that through working with the security research community, we can deliver a safer place to play. We have partnered with HackerOne to help run this program, and we are inviting the security research community, gamers, and anyone else to test the security of PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Network. Our bug bounty program has rewarded or rewards for various issues, including critical issues on PS4. Critical vulnerabilities for PS4 have bounties starting at $50,000. To date, we have been running our bounty program privately with some research. We recognize the value role that research
Hmm.
community plays in enhancing security, so we're excited to announce our program for the broader community. We have carefully considered that what issues will be in scope at this time. You can find more information about the exact details of the program at our HackerOne page.
Which I've got open here
So,
now.
cool thing here. So this is obviously PlayStation recognizing number one, we got to look back to when they had to give out the free games because they got hacked and they had to shut it
Oh,
down.
poor PlayStation 3. Man, they got beat
And
up.
how many people's profiles got hacked? God, like 50 million or something. I don't know.
What was
I'm pulling numbers out of air at this point, but
who was
it
the
was a
hacker?
tremendous amount.
Who was the hacker that like really got on their bad side there for a while? oh, what's the guy's name? Like his name used to be something that ended up becoming pretty synonymous with hackers, but I can't remember his name. And he
It
actually,
depends on what time, because there was one during the Vita, or not the Vita era, the PSP era,
yeah,
and I think that guy actually ended up going to jail
no,
because he
this guy
was a
didn't.
previous Sony employee.
Yeah, this guy didn't because he ended up. I'll go here to take a look at it really quick. There it is. George Hotz. They actually have his. Is that his? Actually, him? Yeah. What's it? Geo Hot. That's the name. That's who I was thinking of, and he's the one who hacked the PlayStation 3. I think. Let me look here exactly what it was that he was known for. Yeah. He's also noted for his technical efforts and publicity with reverse engineering the PlayStation 3, and subsequently being sued by and settling with Sony.
So but was he the one that actually subsequently hacked the network? And no, that was a group, wasn't it?
He was a part of a hacker group, but
Good. I'm trying to remember the one that actually took down the network, and they had to halt the network and everything because of the
who was that?
compromised profiles.
Yeah, there was another. There was actually a full-on group there too.
Unless
yeah.
he was part of that, but continuing on with the thing.
Go ahead, man.
I will say that within the first few hours of this going up, people have been getting money already. I mean, the average bounty listed on the HackerOne website is $400 right now, and they already have 89 reports resolved and 10 assets that are in scope right now. So there are people that are reaching out there, or reaching out to Sony about the security issues and other minor issues even. Oh, cool! And
It actually has statistics here on how many things were looked at so far too.
yeah, and it does at the bottom if you look. Yeah, what kind of scope you're looking at, and how it was eligible.
Yeah, because you're showing here in the statistics on the right side of the screen here for people at home. That's just above my head. You're talking 173,900 paid. $400 is the average bounty. Top bounty range is between $2,500 and $40,000. They've paid $51,900 in the last 90 days. They've received 449 reports in the last 90 days. Last report resolved was a day ago, and they've resolved 89 total reports. Damn. There's a lot going on. It just the last couple of days to figure out what's going on. So I'm curious.
I wonder if this is a good way for some of these black hat hackers to change their hat, you know?
Well, so this is not necessarily like, the worst thing anyway. I don't think this is necessarily that part of it. I think you've got a lot of those, more so the security researchers, the people who have been in school learning about these different techniques and that as well too. And then of course things that picked up, as the internet is. So
True, but they are reaching out to the broader community. So
True.
I mean, who's not to say that some of these, really hardcore hackers don't see this as an opportunity to, it's less risk, obviously, and it's more of a legit way to make money doing something that they do to make money at a higher risk anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And I had to just go peek here and see, but Microsoft does have one for the Xbox as well too, but their price ranges are from $500 to $20,000. So,
But they haven't had nearly the network security problems in their profile, that Sony has had. So.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. So, yeah, it's crazy.
At least not yet. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I just wanted to look at that one too. So, yeah, cool. So good on you, Sony, finally for recognizing it. It's just crazy that they took till now to open it up. but I guess because
Yeah,
of on the
especially after the major hack, because that
Mhm.
was back in. Oh man, I'm
That
trying to
was
put a date on that
2014.
now. Was that 2014?
Yeah, and it was Lizard Squad.
Oh,
Or Lizard Squad was the one that did the DDoS in 2014. The actual hack of user accounts, I think, was the year before. But don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. But all right, let's move on here to our next story, Kyle. This one's, I guess, another quick blurb one here from you, though, too. And this one's from Eurogamer.net. The Last of Us Part 2 sold 4 million copies during opening weekend.
um, as my article pulls up, there we go. So PlayStation announced spectacular sales for The Last of Us Part 2. Naughty Dog's sequel shifted 4 million copies during its opening weekend, making it the fastest selling PS4 exclusive ever worldwide.
Good job.
Earlier this week, sales figures pegged the game as the biggest video game release of this year so far. It also piped fellow Naughty Dog exclusive Uncharted to be the fastest selling PS4 exclusive here in the UK. Creative director Neil Druckmann thanked the millions of fans who had played the game and thoughtfully contributed to the discussion around it. The Last of Us was made possible thanks to the efforts of the hundreds of talented and passionate developers here at Naughty Dog. Druckmann wrote, "We can imagine no greater honor than seeing the game passion mirrored by the people playing it. Thank you for helping us reach the amazing milestone." Speaking
Awesome.
yesterday, Druckmann confirmed that there will be no story expansion to The Last of Us Part 2. As there was for the first game, they'll remain tight lipped on the studio's future multiplayer plans for the franchise. So,
Nice.
this is really cool news, especially coming from such a polarizing title.
Yeah, I saw a lot of the review stuff, though, last week on Metacritic and that, where people were just review bombing the hell out of it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's why I say it. Yeah.
Did you see, like, something Last of Us 2 related? Did you see a lot of the videos people are putting up on YouTube of, like, like playing real world songs, of course, on the guitar, since you can actually play it with, they've actually got every single chord in there.
I haven't, no.
Dude, it's some really neat stuff. Like the one that most people have been playing has been Hurt by Johnny Cash, but someone played Creep by Radiohead. Yeah, well, it's pretty cool. Just if you get the chance to look it up on YouTube, there's some pretty neat videos.
That's funny.
Yeah, I thought you would also enjoy that one. But let's take a look here at another story from PC Gamer. And this one is Bloodstained Curse of the Moon is getting a sequel. Koji Igarashi announced Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2 today, or 3 days ago.
Yeah. So, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night was one of the most successful video games Kickstarters of all time. So successful, in fact, that it raised enough money to fund a prequel minigame, which was released in 2018 as Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. That turned out to be a really good game in its own right. We called it a Castlevania-inspired throwback that's 8-bit in its of all right in an 80 out of 100% review. And even thought that Ritual of the Moon was originally conceived as a throw-in bonus. It's the one getting a sequel during today's New Game Plus Expo livestream. Producer Koji Igarashi announced that Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2 is now in development. Like its predecessor, the game will feature a dark 8-bit aesthetic and will tell an all-new story about Zangetsu, a swordsman from the Far East who bears a powerful dislike for demons and the alchemists who summon them. Zangetsu must battle his way to the demonic stronghold, but doesn't have to do it alone. Zangetsu can ally himself with a brand new cast of characters he meets along the way and add them to a playable roster. The Curse of the Moon 2 webpage says each new character adds a variety of gameplay options, abilities, and ways to complete the game's mini stages. The page also has a closer look at those characters. Zangetsu is a tough guy with the fastest attack speed, making him a strong, straightforward character, while Dominique, a mysterious exorcist affiliated with the church who can revive and heal allies and has the ability to bounce on enemies to reach high places, and Robert is a former soldier and an excellent marksman who brings extreme firepower to the party, but the extremely low defense and no magical abilities. Hatchie is an interesting one, though. He's the Welsh corgi who was embedded inside a suited of magical power armor by an evil alchemist. Hatchie also moves slowly and has no offensive sub-weapons, but is super tough, cross large gaps the others cannot, and can stomp enemies into paste. The page also includes rundowns of the game's system and loops, the bosses you'll face, and some very basic system requirements.
Wow.
So
That's very low.
what it does not, unfortunately, have is a release date. The site does confirm it will release for PC on Steam, though. So something to look forward to for the Castlevania nerds like me.
Yeah, because have you beaten the first one? Kyle, did you beat Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 1?
Sorry, you just cut back in.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Did you play the first Bloodstained then? Or not play it, but beat it?
I didn't beat Curse of the Moon.
Okay.
I still actually haven't beaten the most recent one either. But I'm right at the final boss fight. I for whatever reason put it down and haven't finished it. But yeah, no, I really like the old format too. I think the first one was very reminiscent of the very first Castlevania game.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I've seen on this one for like screenshots, because I saw somewhere doing some research on it. Well, besides the video, they probably just took stills from the video that
Probably.
it looks like it's supposed to be more of like a Castlevania 3. And I'm alright with that one.
I could see
That
some of
one
that
I think
actually
was
in that
my
video.
favorite one on the NES. So
Well, cool. Then I guess you're probably going to end up having this one day one then. Or are you going to try to beat that before the other one comes out?
I'll probably throw the little time I need to beat the final boss. I do want to also tackle that extra content that they're releasing on. Um, I keep wanting to call it Symphony of the Night because when I think Bloodstained, I automatically think Castlevania, and yeah, the titles are so close, but um. No, there's a few extra bosses that I haven't fought. I've done, I think, half of the optional bosses right now. And then I've still got the ones that they added on as well.
Nice. Okay. I can't wait to hear more about it, of course, as you play it. We bring it up in the What Are You Playing podcast, dude.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move in here to our next story. And guess what? Tiny bit more Nintendo news. So this one comes to us from Polygon. New Pokemon game is a MOBA for Switch and mobile. So there was a Pokemon Direct on the 24th, so 2 days ago, where they announced a new title. Of course, it was a lot of hype. A lot of people were expecting a re-release of what came after Ruby and Sapphire, Black and White. Right, Kyle? Was it Black and White?
I'm not actually certain. That was honestly, after the first and second gen, I just kind of fell off for a long time.
Yeah, I'm the same way too. I've got to try to pick up the pieces there from where I fell off after the first 250 Pokemon.
And even still, I on Sword, I've got Sword, and I play it every now and then. I'm not even past the first wild area, so
I got you, man. So Pokemon Company announced a new title, Pokemon Unite, a multiplayer online battle arena game made in partnership with Tencent. The game is a 5-on-5, fairly traditional-looking MOBA for Nintendo Switch and mobile devices. Players run around a symmetrical map with each team having a base on each side. You'll be tasked with catching Pokemon, which you can do by standing on certain capture points, as well as taking down your enemies using your Pokemon's moves. Players can choose from a handful of different Pokemon that have various combat skills. Snorlax, Pikachu, Talonflame, Machamp, Venusaur, Charizard, Blastoise, Clefairy, Gengar, and Lucario were shown on stream, but there may be more Pokemon added in the future. The game is cross-platform, so players on mobile devices will be able to queue up and play with friends playing on the Nintendo Switches. No release date has been announced. So this game came out of left field again, you know. It was another one of those like shadow announcements, really, I guess, for the Direct that was coming up. The problem with this, though, and a lot of people are frustrated, is why take the time to schedule a Pokemon Direct when you could just drop this? You know, like just say, okay, we're going to come out with this game, and that's it. Like, you don't need to do this whole spiel, because the actual Pokemon Direct was, I think, like 7 minutes.
Yeah, which also brings me to my first point about this article. It is, I think, now the most disliked video that's available on Nintendo's page through YouTube over the Metroid, what is it, Federation Heroes?
I don't know, but currently on the Pokemon YouTube channel, it's showing 25 dislikes and 21 likes. So, yeah.
Yeah, I had heard that on YouTube, if you look on, I think it's through Nintendo, if you link it through Nintendo or whatever, or watch it through Nintendo, it's actually more disliked than Metroid Federation Heroes, or it's getting close.
Jesus Christ. I it's not the fact that I dislike
I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, I think it's kind of a cool format for Pokemon to do. I mean, they've done different games before.
No, they have. I think what the problem is, though, is that it's what's the example here is that they turned something into a meeting that could have easily been sent as an email.
That's true.
As the analogy, it didn't require a Nintendo Direct to show off.
But I think
actors
that maybe it's them trying to see their American audience as big as their Japanese audience, and I don't think it is.
It's possible. I mean, Pokemon is still really big here in the state, so I don't know.
But I mean, over in Japan, they have Pokestops, you know,
they do,
like officially licensed Pokemon stores that it's supposed to be themed, like going into a Pokemart, or you know, your Pokestop on your in your game to get your Pokemon healed or whatever they're called.
Right. And see, I think I gotta adjust my camera here, but I think really, though, you know, compared to stuff in the United States, it is just that a lot of like nothing against Pokemon, you know, I mean, from like what we just talked about where we were, you know, kind of at on Pokemon and so on, you know, I don't see a market for something like that here. Like I can understand it maybe in the bigger cities like Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York, where like there's the World of Nintendo in New York City. I get that, but I don't see something like that coming to, you know, Denver. I don't see something like that coming to San Francisco. I don't see something like that
Well, maybe they also did this type of announcement because of the popularity of Pokemon Go as well, because of it coming to the mobile platform being on a cell phone, you know.
That's possible. You could be in between, you know, catching Pokemon and you know, sure enough, this is what you want to do. You want to sit back and do a MOBA, but it's a lot of time to dedicate to a MOBA. Like really, you know, like I don't know.
What would be really cool is if Tencent partnered with Niantic to make some sort of notification that you could run if your cell phone was, you know, let's face it, there's a lot of like weaker cell phones like smartphones out there, but if your smartphone was powerful enough to sustain the apps at full capability, that you could just receive notifications when Pokemon pop up on Pokemon Go while you're playing the Pokemon Unite.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that would definitely
if you were just like
integration.
on the go, like if you were on a train ride or something.
But I guess it depends, though. Like, so I'll say it right now. I guess it depends on how much Niantic wants to work with Tencent, because like Tencent's a Chinese company. There's all the concerns about privacy and access to data and that too. So you start getting them working together. I mean, there's a lot of hard boundaries that need to be set on some things. So just, bringing
Yeah,
that up as
but
well too.
there are a lot of other companies that are foreign uh, that are working with Tencent now too. You
Yeah.
think about it, like Call of Duty Mobile is done by Tencent.
PUBG Mobile.
Tencent's been yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
That's true.
Tencent's been buying up a lot of companies as well, so
That's also
or at
very
least
true.
buying large shares in companies.
Hmm. No, that's also very true too. So it's just something that I was thinking about there, in the grand scheme of protecting
Definitely one to check
location
out.
stuff. Yeah, I think that'll be an interesting one to peek at and just to see how it plays and how it works. But if it's anything like a MOBA, it's going to be a MOBA just with the twist of Pokemon. So let's move in here to our next story.
Yeah.
And this one comes to us from VG247. QuakeCon will be an online event and will take place August 7th through 9th. Bethesda has announced QuakeCon 2020 will be held online and it will kick off on August 7th. The annual event will be held online and is dubbed QuakeCon at Home. While most information will be announced at a later date, you can expect live streams, tournaments, and a few fun secrets. The 25th annual event, which was scheduled for August 6th through 9th, was canceled due to the uncertainties surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic. So, was reading a little bit more on this one here. Believe there was another convention. I don't remember if I think it was PAX. Yeah, PAX also got hit too by this, which is not a surprise. But PAX is making their entire event online free. So you don't even have to pay to go to this whole virtual PAX that they're putting on, which is pretty neat.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's a cool one there. I think the story might have been this last weekend, but I don't know. But yeah, I think QuakeCon's definitely big there too because of all the stuff that Bethesda could show off, which we're waiting on Elder Scrolls 6. We're
And I think at
waiting
this
to see
point
DLC of Doom.
it's kind of an of course moment with them saying we're canceling a physical event.
Mm-hmm.
It was more of just when is the digital event.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, it's right now with everything going on. It's not going to be a matter of if; it's going to be a matter of when.
Yeah,
It really is.
and yeah, just the companies delivering the logistics at this point of when you got to tune in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which I'll definitely sit back and watch because I want to know what the DLC is going to be for Doom because there's stuff coming up for Eternal that's supposedly going to. I think if I remember hearing some of the rumors about the DLC is that it's going to deal with when Doomslayer actually gets to when he's actually picked up. So did you play Eternal yet?
I haven't yet. I haven't finished the 2016 Doom.
Okay.
About the time that I was actually fully getting into my copy, my first Xbox crapped out, and it took me a minute to get a new one.
Okay.
So I never really picked it back up. Like I started playing it again, but I never got further than I was. So I'd like to try and sit down and actually play through the 2016 one fully before I pick it up, I think.
I would recommend it because Doom 2016 really kind of sets the story back up for what Doom is. So there's a lot of, there's the blood, the gore, there's shooting and all that, but it does have a lot of
And
story
ironically
to it.
enough, now with that Steam sale, I think it's like
Yeah.
$6. So
Get it.
if I wanted to pick it up on PC as well, I can always pick it up on PC to get it there too.
Yeah, and then Eternal, of course, though, expands the story further. But I love the cliffhanger that you're left on at the end of Doom, which leads into Eternal anyway. But Eternal, really throws you into the action more than the first Doom did, right at the start. So I'm hoping that the DLC really expands on more of how the Doomslayer came to become the Doomslayer. It's so crazy how they actually set it up and tie it into the previous Doom games anyway. But I'll leave that for you to play later. Let's move into another big part of this week here, and this was Cyberpunk 2077. CD Projekt Red had their first live stream of Night City Wire, which is what they're using to show off different features and different things about Cyberpunk 2077 up until launch. And they also happened to be awesome enough to drop us a new trailer. So Yeah, let me go ahead and unmute this here.
City of endless opportunity. Ready to get your
And I've already got the trailer going on my end too.
Cool.
City like any other, just bigger. No,
This game looks so pretty.
any other city.
Yeah, it really does. Do we want to go ahead and I don't know if they
We're only here because Dex is pulling the strings. Doubt that puts us in the same league as them.
Okay, so it doesn't look like they cover some of the stuff about character creation, but it I guess it was found out that your character, you get to pick one of 3 backgrounds, and that affects how your character starts the game.
Yeah, and that was actually showing off back in 2019, excuse me. They actually did a little bit of that stuff.
Talked a little bit more in depth about it, I want to say, here just recently. With the when they did the when they released the Night City Wire trailer.
Yeah. So, but this this game looks great. However, what I'm a little surprised about is that it's all first person. The only thing that's third person is when you're driving.
You know, I'm not necessarily upset with that, especially with the style of game they're going for. I think it's gonna be one that's gonna be more fun to be played first person. I think the character creation aspect of it and how you being able to physically design your character is gonna come more into effect when they release the multiplayer, because it'll be more of you flaunting your own character design, I think. But
Well, the reason why I'm
that's
saying
just my take on it too.
the only thing I'm saying about the third person stuff though is not Keanu. The only thing I'm really saying though about the third or the first person versus third person part is that there's so much customization going on. Wouldn't you want to actually see more of your character than just hands? You know, arms and all that. Wouldn't you want to actually be able to see it? But I guess, you know, they're probably gonna have more emphasis, of course, on, you know, the mirrors and glass and reflective surfaces actually reflecting you back. Anyway, so you'll be able to see that. But, you know, they really touted a lot of the customization in this game. So I figured that was one thing, though, to bring up. But the cool part, though, of course, is that if you didn't tune into it, it took me a little while to actually find this. But this story comes to us from Attack of the Fanboy, and they actually had a TLDR of what was basically talked about in Night City Wire. So what it talked about, of course, was a summary of, and they jumped into the new trailer. They really kind of broke out at least some of the stuff. Apparently, all the footage that we saw there was from only the prologue, so the very beginning of the game, which is cool. But we'll kind of just skim through the article here and talk about a couple of these parts, because I did go back and rewatch the video again to make sure I understood as well what was going on. So the Badlands were touched on a bit, and it was revealed that it will encircle Night City. It can be traversed with your car and motorcycle and acts as more of a traditional open world. Of additional note, Adam Smasher, a fully converted cyborg crafted by Cyberpunk creator Mike Pondsmith himself, will feature in the early game, and they actually show him off in the. I think he was there in the actual trailer, but you also see him though as they're talking as well though too. He's a really brutish, like full on cyborg, where the only thing you can really tell that could be anything human is the head. He looks pretty cool. They also talked about, of course. They also talked about or showed off at least that you can go to different doctors and that actually have different augments and different changes put on to you as well too. So there's probably gonna be like different people who are going to be specializing in better augmentations for, you know, cybernetics and that too. It was also announced that they talked about the new Xbox Series X game enhancement program. Too, and saying like, you know, you buy this for the Xbox One, you're going to get the free upgrade when the Series X drops. PlayStation 4 owners will also get the same when the PlayStation 5 drops too. What, you know, they don't have a name for it, but they're getting it. So that's pretty cool that they're going to do such. What are you doing, dog? Oh, you're getting comfy. So besides that though too, they also really put a lot of emphasis on this mechanic called brain dance. And what this has a little bit more of a look to is combine the Matrix with not necessarily being a virtual representation of yourself, but more so living in the virtual representation of another living being. So I guess maybe I'd compare it more to like the. Did you see the movie with Bruce Willis, Surrogates?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that, except instead of it being like a full-on, robotic representation, it's actually a person that you're actually going through. So it acts like that. So the way the mechanic works is that you're actually using it more for investigative purposes. So they did show it off in the Night City Wire, where you actually took control of it and you were watching a robber actually go through the motions, working with a partner to go in and hold up a convenience store and take the money. So you're actually going through it, and the player, like your player character itself, though, you end up like getting out of it. You freak out, I guess, so much you end up getting out of it for a second, and it really describes the level of connectivity from you using this system to whoever that person is or was. And yeah, so you actually get to see it from the perspective of that person. And then you also get to see it more from like a camera drone kind of perspective where you can actually see around. And the way they explain it is that the cybernetics allow for these things to happen because they're broadcasting off a lot of like the radio signals in that. And so it generates like almost like a full scale re-representation of everything. So that's what allows for this to exist. So imagine it's like the Doppler effect, it's like the signals bouncing around, bouncing off of things, and basically makes the shapes, but you're seeing everything in like living color. So part of it, of course, because you're looking through the eyes of this thug, what ends up happening is because they turn away and, of course, you can't see the stuff behind them, you actually end up having to transition over to a camera, like a camera monitor. And then from there, you can actually see other things, too. So it allows you to hack in and actually grab and get to that specific point in time to see things from like a camera perspective or from another person's perspective. Look at different things like guns and maybe like what other people are doing, too. So the only thing, though, of course, that they didn't really talk about further on it is if it's going to be more of a emphasis on like there's going to be more emphasis on investigation, that like you really have to make use of it as you play the game, which I'm guessing maybe, depending, of course, on what you're doing. But with the grand scheme, of course, of this being a game that's going to have a multiplayer aspect to it, it would be neat for, say, like, you and I, Kyle, to log in and you log off, and you send me a message and it's like, man, I got shot dead or something. I can go and look and see what happened to you when you got shot dead and go after that person if I could,
That'd be kind of cool. That I don't know. To me, it seems that every time we get more and more information about this game, it's like this is the exact experience that the typical Shadowrun tabletop player really, really would want.
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. That's the big part of it is that, yeah, this is like exactly what you want.
You are living the world of Shadowrun.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what's going to really drive a lot of people in, are those who enjoyed that level of storytelling in those RPGs. So they get into a little bit of the lore behind it, though, too. I'm actually going to read this part from the article here. So Patrick Mills, senior quest designer, then broke down the lore behind brain dancing. What started as a medical and government tech eventually branched out into movies, games, and more adult entertainment, allowing people to live vicariously through the eyes of another person. What we saw was a flatliner, or a brain dance recorded by someone who died during the capture. The game will use the mechanic to provide a keyhole into the lives of the citizens of Night City. The team built complex backstories for every named character in the game, and brain dancing will allow players to learn more about some of them. So there's that part, and then of course they reminded everybody that there's going to be another episode here in a couple weeks. And I don't remember if I mentioned this, but they did announce a partnership for a cyberpunk anime with Netflix and what's the studio, Trigger?
I don't know if you mentioned that or not, but that sounds really cool.
Yeah, and so for those, Studio Trigger is the name, yeah. And so for anybody who might not remember who Studio Trigger is before you go and look it up, they're the ones who made Kill la Kill.
Oh, okay, so
yeah,
you're talking big name, really popular.
Mm-hmm. But they showed off no footage. They don't have anything there. The only thing there was a still. And that was it. There was like a still, but it was more like showing the Cyberpunk logo. And Yeah, so the show's gonna be called Cyberpunk Edge Runners, and all it did was show off the logo, and then it showed a character with his back to you, kind of like looking over his shoulder towards you, and so there you could see some of it, but that's not necessarily saying that's representation of the final art style for it. But if you watch any Studio Trigger stuff, I don't think it's going to be as goofy or as over the top as, say, like Kill la Kill. I'm expecting a little bit more of a leaning towards, say, like Animatrix. Which, honestly, I'm going to go back and watch that now because that's what it really makes me think of. So, but yeah, there's gonna be more stuff coming out, and then of course one of the big things for a lot of the media companies and a lot of the video game websites, out there, we're not up there at the top, so that's just whatever. A lot of them have actually had advanced copies of Cyberpunk 2077, like through a point, and so a lot of them have got videos up right now where they're talking about their gameplay experience with it. I think they were given like a 4-hour long demo of Cyberpunk 2077 and said just kind of like run with it. But there are videos out there from everywhere. GameSpot, I think Giant Bomb might have one. IGN's got one. I think Kotaku also did too. So whoever it is that you like, go out there and take a look at the video to see what you're actually going to be getting out of this game. It's really cool, and make sure you tune into that Night City Wire, especially this episode and then the next episode that comes up in a few weeks. That was pretty neat, though. I'm stoked for it. The other thing, though, too, is Kyle, if you go and watch that trailer again and you really look at the level of detail in there, especially the lighting, that is all real-time ray tracing, by the way. So right. That's the level of lighting quality that you're expecting to get off of the Xbox Series X, the PlayStation 5, and then, of course, if you're one of those who owns a RTX graphics card from NVIDIA, which supposedly NVIDIA worked hand in hand with CD Projekt Red to refine and retune ray tracing specific for Cyberpunk 2077. So that means you're going to have a unique ray tracing experience with that game if you own an RTX graphics card, which probably for something like this and that level of quality, you're going to want a high-end processor, and you're going to probably want an RTX 2080 Ti or whatever version comes out by the time that game is released. So just letting everybody know you got to go spend some money. So yeah, I got to fix this link here because I accidentally left it as an AMP link. So my bad. This is actually our last story here for the evening, and then we're going to let everybody get on with their day. This one comes to us from Engadget. Microsoft document leak suggests cheaper next-gen Xbox is coming. It would be aimed at 1080p gamers who don't need the best tech. The rumors of Microsoft producing a lower-end counterpart to the Xbox Series X just got some support. The Verge reports that a leaked Microsoft document from this month makes multiple references to Lockhart, a budget and possibly cloud-oriented console for those content with 1080p gaming. The file makes multiple references to Xbox Series X developer kit, including profiling modes that target code for the system, suggesting that Lockhart is a cut-down version of modern hardware rather than a repackaged Xbox One. While the document doesn't outline the performance, The Verge understands that Lockhart will have considerably less usable RAM than the Series X. Rumor right now is that it's 7.5 gigabytes versus the 13.5 gigabytes on the Series X, an underclocked CPU and a GPU with just 4 teraflops of performance versus the Series X's 12. There have been previous references to Lockhart and Xbox One software along with the Series X, originally named Anaconda, and the developer kit Dante. Microsoft hasn't confirmed Lockhart, but still believe that the system will release alongside the Series X in the fall, possibly branded as the Xbox Series S. It will not only court gamers who can justify the higher-end Series X, but could form a key part of Microsoft's gaming service strategy. You could also buy this basic system knowing it can play Series X quality games in xCloud. It might also be available as a part of an Xbox All-Access bundle that mates a console with a Game Pass Ultimate for a relatively small monthly fee. Effectively, it'd be a gateway to the Xbox ecosystem. So that's a big one there because we've now officially seen that Sony is releasing a dedicated PlayStation 5 all digital edition. We have yet to see anything from Microsoft on this yet from their side of it because the last all digital edition that we got of anything was the Xbox One S. They released in the 2 flavors, and that ended up being an affordable solution. And of course, we talked about in our news last week that Microsoft is going to be changing out hardware in the xCloud environment to use Xbox Series X hardware, which makes sense, of course, to keep things with the times, but that's a big thing. The interesting thing though is the actual cut in teraflops there though. Like what was the Xbox One X setup? Do you know, Kyle, like right off the top of your head before I look it up?
What do you mean?
Like what was the teraflop count on the Xbox One X?
Oh,
Do you remember?
I don't recall offhand. No.
Okay. Trying to find it here. So, okay, so the CPU in there was an 8-core, 2.3 gigahertz AMD processor, and the GPU was 6 teraflops. Okay, so this is basically a small spec bump then. So if it's going from the 13 and a half to 7 teraflops of, or that's graphics. What was the, crap. Let me see here. I gotta see that again real quick just to make sure I got those specs right. 4 teraflops performance versus the Series X's 12. Okay, that's really bizarre then, Kyle. That's really strange that if the Xbox One X has 6 teraflops, why would the next one have a lower count than that? I think they'd want to either make it equal or at least bump it up another one above to better allow.
You do also have to remember that in a recent Sony thing, and granted, this is Sony saying this and not Microsoft, but I'm sure Microsoft would agree. There gets to a point, especially when you're trying to match hardware, that teraflops don't necessarily mean anything. It's just a floating point of data. It's how well you can access and utilize that data in a timely manner.
Do you think this is the possibility, though, that, as the rumor said, that, you know, it could be possibly tied in with the next generation of this Xbox All Access Pass, which, you know, I'm thinking about it because Microsoft had talked about this previously, but I don't think we've seen it in practice yet, is to offload some of the computation for the game that you're playing to the cloud. And then let your console do, you know, as much as it needs to, but for anything additional, it's actually being rendered outside of your console. They planned on doing that with the Xbox One.
Yeah, and I think there is a lot of room now that the technology has gone a little bit further. Like I think it was a good idea. There was no way they could have made a proof of concept work during the Xbox One generation.
Yeah,
I think it's more of a viable solution to more cost affordable hardware.
Yeah, is that it's like, here, you get access to this, and now you can pay this much, and we will take it off your hands to do it. But I feel bad, of course, for anybody that has a data cap, you know, especially if you have to offload.
Very true. And that, once again, that does come down to the states. And
it does.
You know, I think that we're at a point where we might be seeing maybe a cusp of a change in the internet even at this point, just because of data usage, especially you know, during the time of a pandemic. You see a lot more people accessing their data, and a lot of companies are actually having to give away free data. I know Verizon, I've been getting emails every month that they've removed my data cap for what is it, like a remote hotspot, so I can use my remote hotspot unlimitedly I have been able to use it unlimitedly for like 3 months because of the plan I'm on.
Yeah, and and T-Mobile had something there too because of the pandemic, that you got like a 20 gig, you got an upgrade to a 20 gigabyte 4G hotspot. So,
but I think because of this, you know, we could see an advancement in the internet, you know, or at least states put forward the effort to push companies to not have such a stranglehold or a monopolization on the internet. We might see more of like a privatized internet, like Loveland has. And
one could hope.
Yeah, well, and you know, once we start seeing these things, you know, it becomes more viable to have a console that can offload some of the computational aspect of a game to a cloud server to work with, and then, you know, you just have a smaller unit that doesn't, you know, it's less expensive. You're just paying more for a service at that point.
Yeah, and that's true. That's true. Make it lower cost because a lot of
Makes for bigger profit margins for the production company of whoever's putting out the console too, that can provide the service. So
true, exactly. And then the other side of it too is that a lot of companies are transitioning from making hardware to offering services. Apple has said they're doing the same. They're doing that. Microsoft has said they're doing that. Like Microsoft just announced today that they're shutting down all of their physical retail stores, save for I think like 4 of them. So they're getting rid of that because they're going to start going more to their online sales side of it, and then they're also like more of the service level stuff to make recurring money.
And it's ironic that you say that because you can even access a good portion without even accessing the Microsoft website. You can access a good portion of their store directly through your Xbox to shop for Xbox specific gear, to shop for games and whatnot. Of course, they've got the shop, but you can also shop for you can build a controller almost entirely on your Xbox, I think. And I don't quote me on this, but because it's been a while since I've checked, but you might only have to go onto the website to actually enter your payment information.
That's very true. I think that might be it. Yeah, you don't even need a computer to do any of that anymore. Then just do everything through your Xbox.
And if
this makes sense.
If something through the Microsoft website isn't available through the storefront on your Xbox, then you can link to the Microsoft storefront to their webpage through the browser that's embedded in the Xbox, and then you're at the actual storefront anyway.
Agreed. Yeah, that seems like that's the way all of it goes. I wonder if Sony's going to do the same thing. I wonder if Sony's going to go the same route.
I think they've already started doing some of that. It's been a minute since I've been on the store, but I think you have access to order some accessories and stuff on the PlayStation Network. I don't think it's as inclusive as the Microsoft one. At least last time I checked.
Just make sure though that if you're a parent, okay, and I'm looking at the parents here that are watching our stream right now, that if you're a parent and you have your card information tied to your Xbox account or your PlayStation account, do not let your kid use your account unless you have your payment information stuff locked down. Otherwise, they will buy Farming Simulator 19 on you, even though you bought it for them as a Christmas present, and then you only find out because they bought DLC for $1, and you go and find out they spent $40 to buy that game. Not speaking from experience here, but yeah, no, I am speaking from experience. My kid did that to me on Christmas, or it was the day before Christmas. That's right. He got the game that he wanted, and he learned a valuable lesson about not messing with that. And now my Xbox account is locked down. Requires the PIN code to even log into the account. So, yeah. Anyway, Kyle, I think that's it for us in the news, man. I think there's a lot more I know that's going on. Of course, I didn't think we should get involved too much in the ongoing stuff with Twitch and the Me Too movement that's going on with a lot of that right now. So I'm just, there's a lot of that's going on right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, we mentioned, of course, a little bit of it with the DrDisrespect story at the beginning. But let's make it clear to everybody. Just be nice to everybody. Just be nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
And I don't know. Other than that, I guess we still have the Xbox event. Hopefully, here. What we're supposed to be looking at next week. That we could possibly be seeing it. So depending on when the actual event gets announced and airs, we hopefully will be reporting on that shortly thereafter. If not, you'll be hearing on it or about it probably a few days later.
Exactly. So with that one said, thanks everybody for tuning in to this week's weekly news roundup. Of course, Kyle, thank you so much, of course, for joining me, as always.
Absolutely.
And of course, if you're not following us anyway on our podcast side of things, which is really where the majority of our content comes from, you can follow us on anchor.fm/the-npcs-podcast. We are on a ton of different platforms. We actually just added iHeartRadio this week. So if that's a platform of choice for you, make sure you go there. Make sure you hit the follow button so that way you can see every time we post a new episode. It'll be notifying you as soon as that becomes available. All the links to that, of course, are down in the description of our the live stream here on YouTube right now. Of course, otherwise, you can pick up links on our Anchor.fm page. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, of course, at the NPCs podcast. And if you really like the content that we're actually putting out, you can help us out too. If you go to anchor.fm /the-NPCs-podcast, there is a button on there called listener support. You can subscribe to our podcast for as little as 99 cents a month. And all of that money is already being rolled in to our podcast itself. That's not to pay me. That's not to pay Kyle. That's not to pay Preston. That is being specifically used to increase the quality of what we're doing. And I'm really hoping, as things go on, I'd love to be able to hire an actual real-time editor or actually be able to kind of increase the production quality of the news because, this is kind of where we're at. So, we'll get to that point one day, of course. But anyway, if you'd like to help us out, that's definitely something you can do for it, and we greatly appreciate it. But again, thanks everybody for tuning in to this episode or to this live stream, and we'll see you all later.
Bye.